Have you ever wondered why some people seem to manifest everything so easily, while you keep trying hard and nothing changes? You do everything right, just like you've learned, but somehow things still stay the same. Have you ever felt like your life is stuck on repeat, looping through the same frustrations, even though you know what you want? What if I told you your current reality wasn't created by your effort or even your decisions, but by something way more invisible and way more powerful? No matter how hard you work, how positive you try to be, or how many rules you follow, if your inner state doesn't change, nothing else really will. And the worst part? You probably don't even realize what's been sabotaging you from the inside out. But once you do, you'll finally understand why everything you've tried so far hasn't worked. Yes, it's intense, but it's also liberating, because it means you've got something in your hands that most people aren't even aware of: your creative consciousness. Your whole life, they've told you it's the outside world that decides how you feel inside. But what if everything you were taught about reality was upside down? What if your inner state is what's actually creating your outer world? Neville Goddard used to say, "Imagination isn't just a fantasy, it's a creative act. And it all begins the moment you assume you already are, already have, already live what you desire." It sounds backwards, I know, but that's where the real secret is hiding. In that one simple, weird little paradox. There's something incredibly simple, so simple most people overlook it, that can change everything. But you'll only understand if you stick around until the end. If you're still feeling like you're stuck in a loop, running in circles, and getting the same results even though you're doing everything right, maybe the real issue isn't what you're doing, but who you're being. And that's what we're going to unpack here. How to turn the invisible into something tangible, how to activate conscious creation Neville style, and how to use the law of assumption in real life to flip the switch from the inside out. Ready? Most people still believe that what shapes their life is what happens to them. A job that doesn't come through, a breakup, money that never shows up. But the truth? None of that is what actually creates. The root of everything that shows up in your life is your inner state. It's like life is a mirror. There's no use smiling at the reflection if inside you're falling apart. What drives creation isn't what happens to you, it's how you feel while it's happening. And the one thing that changes everything, and hardly anyone realizes it, is that the external world is constantly responding to your most dominant vibration. Not the vibe you pretend to have online, but the one that hums quietly deep in your heart. If your inner world is chaotic, no mantra, no technique, no prayer will hold things together for long. That's why conscious creation, according to Neville, demands more than just wanting. It demands aligning your inner world with what you want to see on the outside. Think of someone who's always complaining about lack while trying to attract wealth. It won't work. If the foundation is built on fear, insecurity, or doubt, all that shows up is more of the same. Your inner state creates your reality, always. And the wildest part? This has nothing to do with physical effort and everything to do with a quiet decision you make deep inside. Once someone truly gets that, that's when they start to look at something they used to think was just wishful thinking, active imagination. Imagination isn't an escape from reality. It's where reality gets built. Everything around you was once imagined by someone. A phone, a bridge, a book, even this content you're reading. The difference between people who create intentionally and those who just survive is simple. The first group uses imagination as a tool, not a distraction. Neville Goddard called this active imagination, a deliberate, emotional, and conscious use of that creative power. It's not about daydreaming. It's about rehearsing, from the inside out, what you want to experience on the outside. Let's say you want to change careers. It's not enough to think, it'd be nice to be a therapist. You've got to see yourself in the chair, helping clients, feeling their gratitude, witnessing their transformation. That kind of emotional visualization, where you live in the end, plants a seed just as real as laying bricks. Active imagination isn't passive, and it's definitely not lukewarm. It's alive, fiery, emotional. And when you feel it as if it's already real, your body responds, your brain rewires, and the universe starts rearranging things. That's when conscious creation kicks in with full force. When you imagine something clearly and emotionally, you're messing with the invisible architecture of reality. And here's the thing, if you do this consistently and feel it for real, the outer world has to reflect what you've rehearsed on the inside. The feeling, the emotional spark behind the vision, starts to stir inside you. And that's exactly what we need to talk about next. You can picture anything you want, every day, for hours, but if you don't feel it, it's useless. Imagination without feeling is like a car with no engine. It looks complete, but it doesn't go anywhere. Feeling gives life to thought. It's the invisible catalyst that turns a mental image into creative energy. Neville always said, "Feeling is the secret." It's not enough to think something might happen. You have to feel like it already did. You know when a memory hits so hard it feels like it's happening again. Your heart races, your eyes water, your breathing shifts. That's the power of feeling. It's what makes the mind believe it's real. So when you step into a state loaded with true emotion, you're sending a crystal clear message to the creative mind. This is real for me, and the outer world responds accordingly. That emotional spark is the fuel that fires up the engine of change. Here's a helpful practice. Check how you feel when you imagine something you want. Do you feel relief or resistance? Joy or doubt? These signals are gold. They tell you if your inner state is aligned or secretly sabotaging your creation. Imagination without emotion is just a daydream, but with real feeling, it becomes a creation code. And when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions start walking in the same direction, that's when something amazing is born. Internal congruence. It's no use thinking one thing, feeling another, and acting completely differently. Conscious creation can't survive that kind of contradiction. When your mind, heart, and actions aren't in sync, what you manifest is noise, confusion, and constant delay. Internal congruence doesn't mean being emotionally perfect. It means being coherent. It means what you believe, feel, and do are all moving toward the same direction. It's like a well-tuned band. If each instrument plays out of rhythm, the song falls apart. But when everything's in harmony, something magical happens. Let's say someone wants to attract love but keeps repeating, "People suck," feels scared to open up, and acts cold. The universe sees that combo as their truth and reflects it right back. Internal congruence is like a focused beam of light. When you align everything inside, clear thoughts, strong feelings, and consistent actions, reality has to respond. Think of it like tuning into a radio station. You only get a clear signal when everything is dialed in just right. The law of assumption doesn't react to wishful thinking. It responds to your dominant frequency. And that frequency only locks in when your whole being is saying yes to what you want. Conscious creation. Neville style doesn't survive on doubt, hesitation, or fake positivity. So here's the deep but simple invitation. Align yourself with what you want to see out there. And how do you do that? By fully assuming, inside, that it's already real. This is one of Neville Goddard's most powerful and also most challenging teachings. You've got to assume the state as if you're already living what you desire. It's not about hoping or wishing. It's about embodying the energy of "this is already mine." That's the heart of practical assumption. Picture someone who wants to run a successful business. Instead of staring at lack and feeling like a beginner, they begin to think, feel, and show up like someone who already leads with confidence and success. Sure, it might feel like make-believe at first, but it's not pretending. It's internal construction. When you live in the end, your body, mind, and energy switch into a whole new frequency. It's like rehearsing every day the role of the most fulfilled version of yourself until it becomes second nature. That's when your inner state starts creating your reality with real power. You're not waiting for change anymore. You're living as if it already happened, and that's exactly when it shows up. A simple but powerful exercise. Right before bed, imagine a short scene that captures the feeling of your desire fulfilled. It could be a celebration hug, a paid bill, a burst of laughter. Keep it simple, real, and emotional. Active imagination must be felt now, not someday in the future. Assuming the state isn't about waiting, it's about being. And when you really get that, something else becomes clear. Who's actually in control? Your conscious self or your unconscious autopilot? Most people live on autopilot, unknowingly repeating yesterday's outcomes, and they don't even realize it. Why? Because the unconscious mind is in the driver's seat, steering based on old memories, fears, and habits. If you don't consciously choose your thoughts and emotions, your unconscious will do it for you. And the thing is, it's not trying to sabotage you. It's just recycling what you've fed it most. So if you really want to change your life, you've got to change your internal pilot. Creating consciously requires presence. You have to notice when you're reacting the same old way, believing the same limiting stories about lack, fear, or not being enough. It's like reprogramming a GPS. If you don't change the destination, you'll keep ending up in the same place. When you activate conscious creation the Neville way, You start observing more, choosing more, feeling with intention. Active imagination isn't just about visualizing, it's about giving direction to your inner world. You're literally putting your unconscious mind to work for you instead of against you. Here's a practical example. Start your day by asking, what inner state do I want to operate from today? Instead of rushing into default mode, choose a quality: calm, confidence, abundance. Take a breath, feel it. Imagine a moment where that's already happening. That's how you begin to install new emotional patterns. And when that practice becomes a habit, something amazing happens. Even your automatic thoughts, the ones you don't control, start shifting. Those casual inner comments, they're building your reality too. And it's often in those tiny observations that people unconsciously sabotage what they're trying to create. Some people think they're only creating reality when they're meditating or visualizing. But the truth is, your mind is creating all the time, especially during those little mental habits throughout the day, like judging yourself in the mirror, comparing your life to someone on social media, feeling anxious when you look at your bank account. Every one of those moments gets logged as proof of what you believe to be true. And guess what? The universe listens. That's why conscious observation is just as important as conscious imagination. Whatever you mentally say to yourself about your body, your life, your worth, it matters. If every time it rains you think, ugh, this weather drains me, then yeah, you're gonna feel drained. Not because of the rain, but because of what you told yourself to feel. Active imagination includes those inner monologues too, and this is where a lot of people slip up without realizing it. Here's a powerful practice. Catch yourself in the act. Notice those automatic complaints. Then flip the script with a better question, something like, what else could this mean that empowers me? Or how can I shift this right now? It might seem small, but that shift in inner dialogue changes your frequency instantly, because your inner state is always creating your reality, even when you're not paying attention. That's why building a small daily ritual can be a game changer, something that reminds you every day that you're the one creating, even when it doesn't look like it. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as closing your eyes for 2 minutes and stepping into the end scene of your dream, feeling it, living it, being it. This work isn't about doing a miracle method once and waiting for magic overnight. It's about consistency. Reality responds to emotional repetition. The simplest and most powerful daily practice is choosing a short scene that reflects your dream fulfilled and feeling it as real for a few minutes every day. Before bed works great. The time isn't what matters. It's the emotional quality that makes the shift. Active imagination. Neville style doesn't ask for physical hustle. It asks for emotional commitment and inner presence. Picture a woman who deeply wants to feel loved. Instead of waiting for someone to show up, she closes her eyes and imagines someone looking into hers with love, whispering, I choose you every day. If she really feels that, her brain won't know it's not real. It gets recorded as truth. And when that emotional state is repeated, it turns into identity. Then the outer world starts reflecting that new identity right back to her. That's the law of assumption in motion. Here's a tip. Create a simple anchor scene for each desire you have. Just one. Make it short, emotionally rich, and meaningful. It could be a hug, a voice note, a laugh, a message, a "we did it" moment. Feel that scene every morning and night. Make it part of your rhythm, because the more you live it internally, the more the universe reads it as real. And when that happens, those little coincidences begin showing up everywhere. But they're not random. They're signals. They're proof that something has shifted on the inside, and reality is catching up. Some people call them signs, others call them synchronicities, but they're really just echoes of the inner shift that already happened. When your state changes, reality starts mirroring back that change. You might feel more clarity, more ease, a strange confidence that wasn't there before, and then, suddenly, someone calls you out of the blue, or an old problem just resolves itself. That's not luck. That's alignment. These are the first whispers of the new version of you becoming visible. The more you notice them, the stronger the signal gets. Neville Goddard always pointed to this. Once the state is assumed and felt deeply, it must externalize, because the state creates the path, the bridge of events, the unfolding. What else might you notice? You start feeling drawn to different people, places, or ideas. You act differently, more sure, more grounded, more open. It's like your body and mind are being guided by something deeper, and that something is the inner conviction that what you imagined is already real. That's when the state of assumption becomes a living energy. And that's when you begin to trust, not just the universe, but yourself. You realize that your imagination, when used with congruentia interna and supported by emotion, is no longer just fantasy. It's a tool of conscious creation, Neville style. And the more you use it, the more natural it becomes to live in that frequency. The manifestation no longer feels like a distant dream. It feels inevitable, because it is. Not by force, but by design. The more you anchor your inner world in that already done feeling, the less you chase. You stop doubting, stop checking, stop trying to control the outside. And that's when the most powerful shift happens. The manifestation shows up not because you need it, but because you've become the version of you that has it. Here's the secret most people miss. Manifestation isn't about waiting, it's about being. When you fully live in the end, when your state says it's already mine, you don't sit around hoping anymore. You walk differently, you speak differently, you think from the result, not toward it. And that shift in identity, it's magnetic. Let's be honest, this takes practice. You'll slip, you'll catch yourself reacting to the old world. But every time you do, it's a new opportunity to come back to the truth. Your outer reality is just a mirror of your inner state. So instead of trying to change the mirror, change the face you're bringing to it. One powerful question you can ask yourself daily is, if I already had what I wanted, how would I feel right now? Then pause, breathe, let that feeling rise. Let it soak into your body. Let it shift your tone, your choices, your posture. Do this often enough, and it becomes who you are, not who you're pretending to be. Because when congruentia interna kicks in, when thought, feeling, and belief match, there's no more resistance, no more forcing, no more pushing, just allowing. That's when creation becomes effortless, and the world bends to the inner state you carry like a frequency. Let's make this real with a simple practice. Every day, morning or night, take 2 to 5 minutes. Close your eyes and choose one inner scene that represents your dream already fulfilled. It could be you receiving a message, hearing congratulations, hugging someone, or signing that contract. Keep it short, but feel it so vividly it makes you smile. That's the sweet spot. You're not just thinking it, you're embodying it. You're sending your brain and body a new signal. This is who I am now. When done consistently, that single scene reprograms your identity at a deep level. It's not about hours of visualization. It's about emotional depth. Imagine holding the key to your new house. Feel the weight of it, the sound of the door clicking open, the smell inside. That's how you impress the subconscious, not with repetition alone, but with real feeling detail. And the truth is, even if nothing changes immediately on the outside, everything's already changing on the inside. And that's where reality begins. How do you know it's working? Not because something appears instantly, but because you start to shift. You'll notice your mind feels clearer. You won't overthink as much. You'll catch yourself acting from peace instead of panic. You might feel more aligned, like life flows better, even without trying. Little things happen that feel too perfect to be coincidence. You think of someone and they call. You feel ready and an opportunity pops up. These are the indicators. Your creation, conscient Neville, is gaining traction. Another sign? You no longer obsess over the outcome. You don't need the manifestation to prove anything. You're living in the assumption pratica already. You've become the version of you that knows, this is done. And that kind of certainty creates a field around you that life can't help but respond to. You might even notice people treating you differently. They sense something, but they can't quite explain what. That's because your state is different. And since estado interno crea realidad, your world must adjust to match. When your estado interno becomes that clear, that aligned, the outer manifestation is no longer a matter of if, but when. It's inevitable, because reality doesn't resist that level of clarity and feeling. You've stopped trying to make it happen and started living from it. And that's when things get magical, because they feel natural. You're no longer chasing, you're embodying, and life meets you there again and again. That's how imaginação ativa, Neville, works. It pulls the future into the now, one feeling at a time. You're not wishing anymore. You're remembering who you really are. The person who knows that a imaginação cria a realidade. The one who finally understands. Sentir é o segredo. Because when you feel it fully, live it internally, and stay congruent with that identity, the outer world has no choice but to reflect that state back. It's law, it's physics, It's your divine design in motion. So now the question isn't if you can manifest your dream. It's, are you willing to assume it's already done and live that truth daily? Because the moment you say yes to that, the bridge to your desire begins building itself under your feet, step by step, moment by moment, until you're standing exactly where you once only imagined.